Good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, March 15th. This is the Broadwater County Commission business meeting. If you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Franklin, could you turn on your microphone? All right, thanks for coming, everyone. What we're going to do is start the meeting with public comment, and then we will go ahead and follow this process. The process is that we've advertised for 6 weeks for a commissioner to fill the vacated position. All elected officials were involved with every part of the review process, the interview process, the forum last night. That is not required by law. That is something that Broadwater County did to be more transparent and inclusive. Those were all open to the public. Everyone was invited. They were all noticed. The final decision, regardless of the involvement of all elected officials, really does fall to just Franklin and I. There's no tiebreaker, no district judge tiebreaker, no elected officials as a third commissioner tiebreaker. It's really just the two of us. So we really appreciate all of you being involved, coming today, paying attention, and offering your words of support and guidance for us to make the best decision possible. So I had a candidate this morning ask if he could say a few words this morning. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is open it up to candidates if they want to say something more, and then we'll move into hearing from public and employees. We also have 2 letters from our elected officials to help guide us, and I'll open those after we hear from the candidates. So who would like to, and you're not obligated to, so if anybody would like to speak, feel free. Either one is fine. If you'd like to stay there and keep this casual or come forward.
I'm pretty good at spreading things out.
All right, just
Okay,
state your name for the record as we are being videoed and recorded.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don Thompson. I'm running for commissioner this fall. Hopefully I'll be selected as the interim commissioner, but we'll see how that goes. In any case, I wanted to start out by commenting about the fact that last night's forum, all of the folks that were there, all of the candidates, we all had the opportunity to respond to some very tough questions. And there was fair questions, but they were very tough. A lot of them centered around how do you make decisions, and what do you do when you get additional information that may change a prior decision. Well, that took me back to something that happened about a year ago. A year ago, I went to a Red Cross Upper Executive Management Program down in Bozeman. I was teaching a piece on how to deal effectively with the media when a lady from the group, from our Idaho and Montana group, started talking about the organization that she was a part of, and all the changes, all the good things that were going on there, all the fantastic things. And she went on and on and on and on, and I started listening to this, and she really caught my ear when she mentioned that she worked for a hospital. And I said, gee, we have a hospital, but I haven't heard a lot of good stuff coming out of the hospital. I've heard a lot of people complaining. I've probably heard a lot of back and forth stuff, but this lady was really serious about how good this place was. Let me give the 2 of you here a copy of an article that I printed out from a newspaper that describes this organization and what they did. And in taking a look at this, my curiosity got really stirred up, and I wanted to compare and understand what was going on. So I did a little bit of research. I got on the internet, and I looked around, and I tried to find a way to compare apples with apples. Well, I did that. Here's some more information for you. The first page on this talks about the Broadwater Health Center. Identifies the fact that the Broadwater Health Center, nothing new here, is a total staff bed capacity of 25. It's a critical access hospital, and it gives you some revenue information there. Over the prior year, allegedly, Total patient revenue was $3,880,000 plus a little bit. And when I started looking at this other organization, I found the information showing up in the additional pages here. And in this information, put out by GuideStar, it says that this organization operates a 25-bed critical access hospital, providing medical services to their county. The next closest emergency room is about 50 miles away, and the nearest regional hospital is 90 miles away. So they kind of like have a pretty good lock on services. How far is it from here to the next hospital? About 35, 40 miles up to Helena. And to the next large hospital, are we looking at Great Falls or are we looking at Bozeman? Well, there's a distance involved. If you go down to the bottom of this page, one here, it says revenue. And at the top of the second page, they identify the sources of the revenue. All the information, all the money's coming in and where it's coming from. Right below that, they list their expenses over a year's period. When I look at these two things, I see there's a discrepancy. The expenses don't match the income. So I scratched my head a little bit, and I called the individual whose name appears in the little piece of paper here, and I said, hey, I'm not an expert at this. Can you explain this to me? What's going on? You know, this is a non-profit critical care access hospital, and you folks made an $830,000 profit. How'd you do this? And the lady went on to explain some of these things to me, and how they did it. And I looked at their sources of revenue, and I said, there's something missing here. The contributions, government grants, program services, investments, special events, sales, other. What's missing? What's missing, this hospital here gets no tax money. None. They get no PILT money. None. And they're turning a profit. I said, gee, you know, that's something that's interesting. $820,000 profit in just 1 year. So I wanted to mention this because I've been told in the past that it's very difficult for Montana hospitals to turn a profit. But now we've got a comparison. We know that there's another hospital in Libby, Montana, that is brand spanking new, that has better facilities than we have. The reason that they built the hospital was because the prior plant was aging so bad that it was impossible to keep the place well maintained. So they just closed the old hospital down, built a new hospital, and went from there. And now they're making money. So I just wanted to mention that to you. We're looking here at budget, we're looking at how the money is going to be spent in the county this coming year and in future years. And here's a source that might be able to help. Thank you.
All right, is there any other candidate that would like to stand up and speak? Any other candidate? All right, so moving on then, is there any, you know what, I think the next thing I'll do is share with you what the electeds have said. I'd like to offer a huge thank you to our elected officials. This is above and beyond your call of duty, so thank you for your help. All right, we have a good morning. You will find our top 4 candidates for the interim commissioner position listed below in alphabetical order. Mike Delger, Nick Korthals, Larry Rickmeyer, Bill Up the Grove. And Corey also sent an email. He is not here this week. He is on National Guard duty. But he sent an email, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's 2 pages. But it looks like the following applicants have been ruled out for appointment, and that is Mike Delger, Les Shipman, Don Thompson, and Bill Up the Grove. That leaves Nick Korthals, Bill Amps, Larry Rickmeyer, and Larry Wright. Commissioners, I recommend you make a decision this Tuesday. And then he goes on to point out the attributes of the four. Corthal's, good experience, young with energy and new ideas. I believe he was very candid about his past issue with Sheriff Meehan and his belief that it won't affect his performance. Concerns the amount of time he's willing or able to commit to the position. I think we heard a little bit more on that last night that added some light. Bill Amps, very well respected and believe he will be a strong influence for a more positive and courteous environment on our commission. Concerns, very limited answers, so I have a hard time getting a sense of his plans for the job. And that comes from not knowing the job yet. Larry Rickmeyer, I've heard very good and positive things about him. His background shows a strong commitment to the community and familiarity with commission issues. Concerns he missed the interview due to being sick, so I did not get a chance to hear from him. I've only met him once personally, so I regret the opportunity. And Larry Wright, he shows he is eager to give back to the community and wants to make Townsend better. Concerns, his answers provide little details as to what he intends to do in the job. He expressed some mixed feelings about being on the commission as opposed to family commitments. That was also illuminated more last night at the forum. So with that, does anybody have any public comment? Employees or public or department heads? We'll just open it up to anyone who wishes to speak and offer any guidance. Yes, sir. And please state your name for the record.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Dan Hutchings. I live just east of here, Townsend. I just come down here to voice my concerns, hopefully as just a recommendation to, as elected officials. It's laying on two people's shoulders here that decides who this intern's going to be till election comes. Am I correct?
Yes.
I was doing some studying through the Montana Association of Counties, MACO, and I caught the vision statement, and MACO enhances the public service mission by promoting integrity and providing leadership with respecting Montana diversity. And I thought that was very interesting. And one of the things, though, that concerns me at all levels of government, including city and counties, is we seem to be steering away from that word to serve from our elected officials. And that brought me to another part that I thought was interesting out of MACO that I found. And it said, how will I spend my day if I'm elected to be a county commissioner? And I took down, and there was several of them in bold, and without going into detail, but talking with constituents is a big part of the job. Attending meetings, gathering information, building consensus, and building coalitions, and establishing relationships with the local media. I look at these, and the only thing I ask and request that when you make this decision, you take a look at some of this thing. Or the person that you decide, is he's going to kind of abide by these, talk to the constituents, work with the constituents, develop a general consensus, and then use that based on his heart, his gut feeling to make his decisions, or hers gut decisions. That's what I came down to visit with you about and to consider when you make your decision.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to comment on Bill Up the Grove now.
And please state your name for the
Dave
record.
Flask.
Thank you.
Yes. Bill Up Grove is also a member of the hospital board, and I think right now with the hospital and looking to take over the county health department there, I think that's somewhat of a conflict of interest, and I'm afraid that might sway the commissioners to favor that. So I think that's something that needs to be considered.
Thank you. I do feel I just have to put a little bit out there for everyone's understanding. The hospital was never interested in taking over the public health. That was something the county looked at, and it was to save the county taxpayers to start about $58,000 a year. Nothing's been done, no proposal's been made. It was something we looked at because it's a way to save money and to stop duplicating services and streamline what we do. So I just want to make sure that's out there for everybody. Any other public comment? Public comment? All right. Franklin, we have a list here. Do you have anything you want to say or any input to the proceedings at this point?
No, not really. You got any decisions?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I'm glad you asked. I would suggest that we start with Larry Rickmeyer. He brings the closest to what Elaine brought. Elaine was our ag representative on the commission. We're kind of a three-legged stool. Each one of us brings a different area of expertise. And Elaine was very familiar with ag as well as the institutional memory of this county. I think Larry Rickmeyer brings the ag perspective and his time on the school board, his work on the library, that brings an institutional memory to the commission. I think he's the closest match to our Elaine Gravely. And so I would move that we select Larry Rickmeyer as our third commissioner to represent District 2.
I'd already make that decision. You know, last night just brought out more questions. We got good candidates and things, but my constituents, I'm hearing more and more and more, and I listen to them. There was different things that brought up last night, and like I say, my constituents are very important to me. They put me in the office. They stood behind me on all my decisions. So it looks to me like it's going to be more one-on-one interviews for me.
There's 6,016 people in this county. They're all your constituents, Franklin. We've heard from a lot of people that they want us to make a decision so that we can be functional again. Do you have anything to say?
There'll be a
to those
decision
folks?
made. There's no rush on this decision. You know, I keep hearing that. It's got to be done, it's got to be done right now. There's no rush. As you recall, I think it was 2 years ago, Lewis and Clark County went 8 or 10 months before they picked the third one. Mako told me that Daniels County went over a year and a half. So there's no big rush. I want to make sure that when it's done. Because this commission in the past has made some very bad mistakes. I don't think there's a chance here because we have some good people here.
As a commission, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but on this process so far, we've spent over $2,200. That is the advertising, certainly. But we had about 2 to 3 hours where the different elected officials read through the applications, prepped for our interviews, came up with questions together, planned the forum, and then we spent one day over 10 hours interviewing one person after the next, and then we had one the following week. Then we spent 2.5 hours last night at a forum. We were all there early. We all stayed late to be there to answer questions and to visit with the different candidates. That's a lot of hours for folks to spend. $2,200 is a lot of money for us to have just wasted. Having more interviews is fine, but there is a rush. Lewis and Clark County, the two commissioners were good friends. They'd worked together for years. They were functioning with just two. Daniels County, same story. Those are partisan counties, and the reason for not having a third was because the different political parties hadn't put forth people, not because the commissioners couldn't agree. If you are opposed to Larry Rickmeyer, I'll go down the list. I move that we select Nick Korthals as our next commissioner. He is young. He can give it numerous terms. He knows our budgeting. We need to get started on that. We're 2 months behind because there was a delay of 6 weeks getting our assistant in the accounting office. And that was due to a 1-1 block of the commission. One said, yes, let's move ahead. One said, no, status quo prevails. We could not get that assistant. We're now 2 months behind in the budget. So Nick Korthals knows the budget. He can hit the ground running. Is there a second to that motion?
I'm glad you mentioned that, that budget. I just checked with Debbie. There's always kind of a timetable we have there, and asked her, I said, you got the timetable up yet? No, she said, I'll get on, but she says, we're a ways off yet. It's getting close to the time we start working on the budget, but that isn't so right now. And the other thing I'd like to mention, I'm glad you mentioned that this is wasted money. It sure was. That's what I've been fighting for 3 years. All these different things, money and stuff that's been thrown away, wasted and everything. Never in the history has there ever been, that I know of in my time, and we're not trying to pick the next nominee for the President of the United States or anything. This is just a simple commissioner intern. And all this was blown out of, I mean, it's good to have these public comments, but to go on and on like it was just completely grandstanding.
Could I ask for one point of order, please?
Yes.
I would ask Mr. Slifka to please do not cover your mouth when you speak. I have trouble hearing as it is, and that makes it
I'm
worse.
sorry.
Thank you.
All right, would you please let the record show that that motion died without a second as well? I will nominate Bill Upthegrove as our third commissioner from District 2. I don't know who said it last night, but somebody said, please do not leave a third of this county, District 2, unrepresented. Bill understands budgeting with multiple departments. Again, with the budget, which is looming, which we are behind on, he can also hit the ground running. Any second?
Not for me.
Please let the record show that motion died without a second. I will nominate Bill Amps as our third commissioner from District 2. In fact, I think it's Bill that said don't leave District 2 unrepresented last night. Am I right? Okay, thank you. I think Bill comes into this job as a sponge, and we can fill that sponge with an awful lot of knowledge and information, and he will be able to make some very good information-based decisions for the citizens. Okay, would you please let the record show that motion died without a second? The other one that was on the county attorney's list, I'm going to nominate as our third commissioner, and that's Larry Wright. He is involved with business. He understands the importance of business and economic growth. He voiced that last night. He also comes to this job without a lot of knowledge, but he has illustrated multiple times a willingness to learn. All right, would you please let the record show that motion has died without a second? All right, so does anybody have any comments at this point? Mr. Gravely.
Are you willing then, Franklin, to just let this go to the general election? If it went to the primary, would you pick one of the candidates in the primary election, let them fill the remaining 6 months or whatever? Or do you want to just
I hadn't thought about that part of it.
or status fully at one-on-one and not get anything done?
That means not get anything done, I guess. It's still
Well, it's kind of stupid to
interview for one-on-one.
have a standoff all the time. It doesn't matter whether you like somebody or not. There's gotta be decisions made, and you can't make it on a one vote deal. There's gotta be somebody to make another vote. And I think there's a lot of things that need done in the county that just can't be keep putting off and put off.
Madam Chair, Ann Rouser. Commissioner Slifka, we have been friends for many years. We were classmates in high school. I am also constituent, and I am asking you to stand up and do the job you were elected to do. Making decisions is part of this job. I am asking you to make a decision today.
I've made a lot of decisions in these last 3 years.
I am asking you to make a decision today.
I don't think I'm gonna make one today. I just said that here a little while ago.
Yes.
My name is Linda Huth. I'm also one of your constituents. I'm also one of hers, but I voted for you. I didn't, and I wouldn't. I have been attending these commissioner meetings for the last year and a half, couple of years, and I am so disgusted. Mr. Slifka, you drag things on and on and on. You will not make a decision. You have made us the laughingstock of the state. Frankly, I have more to do than to come and babysit these commissioner meetings. And I agree with Ann. I would like to see a decision today.
Yes.
Earl Campbell. Franklin, stand your guns. I'm behind you 100%, and I like Mike Delger.
Linda, did you have your hand up?
Franklin, I think it's time that you do make a decision today. We need something done. I care for you, I stood behind you, but things now are starting to get out of hand. When is this madness gonna stop? Out of these ones that she has done, so said, I think that Delger is the best one, or Bill Ernst. I'd ask you please to make your decision.
Philip?
Philip Schnaub, Commissioner Slifka, you just said that this isn't a presidential nomination, and you're right, it isn't. Why a lot of people might not think it's that important, I feel as a county, as being demonstrated currently in this process, we do need to move on. The list that was just given is a very qualified list. Larry Brickmeyer, well respected, I think would totally meet both sides of this argument without a doubt. On through, I ask that you make a decision today.
And I'm going to hear from the public. Tim?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public and candidates, thank you for being here today. Tim Ravensall. This is probably the most important decision that I've witnessed in Broadwater County in many years, because this affects everybody. It's not just District 2 or District 3 or District 1. This is a very important decision made by these two citizens on behalf of everyone. And I think it's important that if one of the two commissioners is not comfortable making that very important decision today, I think it's only fair to give the deference to the commissioner that's got that responsibility. Making a wrong choice is worse than not making a choice today. If that person needs to have time to make an informed decision, I think it's only fair to give that commissioner the respect, and we heard that last night. We need to show respect, and I'm not hearing a lot of that, and I think we need to make sure that we remember that respect is given to those that not only deserve it, and therefore, like I say, I think it's important that this important decision be well thought through by both commissioners and make a decision based on the facts and that research. Maybe some of you folks think that the process has afforded that already. I sat through the whole day of interviews by elected officials. I sat through the information provided at the forum last night. Overall, I don't think the public of Broadwater County has had a full feel of who the candidates are and what they stand for. And we're looking at long-term here, because all of the candidates are looking at not only the interim, but they're looking at the 6-year process. It was brought up that whoever is appointed today, if that were to happen, would have an unfair advantage as almost an incumbent over the rest of the candidates, all equally qualified to take the position. So we need to be careful and recognize that as well. If we don't take the time and care and try to work together to make this work and just continue the divisionary process, we will continue to have problems in Broadwater County, and I don't want to see that as a citizen. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Doug Ellis, County Treasurer. Haven't been through all of the commissioner meetings in the past few years, but I've been well versed on them. I agree that there does need to be some respect shown, and the respect that's paramount to me is the respect for the Broadwater County and their citizens. I've seen more votes that have been abstained in the last year than we've probably ever had in the history of this commission, and most of them have been abstained by Commissioner Slivka. In my book, respect is earned, it's not necessarily guaranteed. I haven't seen a lot that would earn my respect, other than the office that you hold, Commissioner Slivka. This is a very important decision. We went through numerous hours listening to people, and I've heard several comments from you that it was a waste of time. Why would a one-on-one meeting be any less than a waste of time? We've got 8 qualified individuals that want this job. Any one of them could stand up in this position for 10 months and do this job and do it well. I don't really believe that would give them an unfair advantage as an incumbent. They're not the incumbent, they're there for interim. They're not, they weren't elected by the people. But this is an important decision. I don't think it should be put off another day. We've had a lot of interviews, we've heard a lot of information from a lot of good people that could stand up and do this job. I like what Mr. Delger said last night. If you can't agree, pick somebody you hate and put them in there, but put somebody in there. Put somebody that can do this job, because it's not getting done the way it is, the county's not being served, and you're not doing the job that you were elected to do.
Any other public comments? Public comments? Yes.
My name is Linda Huth. I would make a couple more comments. I would ask Mr. Slivka, what else do you want? And how much more time do you want? And I also think that these people who have stepped up to the plate and applied for this job deserve the respect, again, respect, of a selection being made. Can you explain why you want to put this off longer? Doug said it right. If you think it's a waste of time, why do you want to spend more time on it?
You'll be absolutely right when I make my decision. And as far as stuff not getting done in the county, things are getting done and will be done.
But they're put off, and put off, and put off, and stalled, and that's no way to operate.
There were 2 questions asked. What else are you looking for, and how much more time do you want?
You know, I get phone calls. I'd be on Rocky Mountain, I'd be on the street or wherever I'm at, and people come and talk to me all the time. And they're always saying, hang in there, don't back down, just keep doing what you are. And so, and this country song is kind of a format for me. Just don't back up and don't back down. Sometimes you just don't back down.
So what else do you want, and how much more time do you need? I think those 2 questions show respect to our candidates. They should have a timeline and an idea what you're looking for if you're going to conduct one-on-one interviews.
I guess it just depends how long it's gonna take to take care of some of the interviews. And the more I keep hearing from my constituents.
So what else do you need?
That's about it.
All right, Wendy, we haven't heard from you yet. I'm gonna let you go next, and then we'll hear from
You know,
Paul a second time.
And I don't want to get in the midst of a political battle by any stretch of the means, but in being as a newly appointed sheriff, I want to make it very clear, because I've sat in here numerous times, listened to this one-on-one dispute. The question I'm going to ask you, Franklin, and I'm going to be very blunt, is who are you interviewing? Because we sat in here for a whole day, you never asked one damn question. Not one. You sat over there the same as you are now. You never said anything. This county needs 3 commissioners. People in this community need 3 commissioners. As the sheriff of this county and the coroner of this county, I need 3 commissioners. The other elected officials need 3 commissioners. You serve the people just as I do. Every single one of them, all 6,019 or 6,016. And last night you heard it, I heard it very clear. Delger said it, Rick Meyer said it. Pick somebody. But this answer of, I need more time to interview. Who are you interviewing? Because you work for us all. And you won't answer the questions that are being asked. And I'm not happy. I'm very upset. I'm very stressed out about this. We coming into a very big year with lots of changes. We need a commissioner. We can't go one-on-one, you abstaining from a vote and denying the motions, denying payroll, denying claims. That's not doing county business. It's not taking care of the people of this community who put you in there. So if you're talking about your constituents of your special interest group that you're siding with, who we don't know, or you're looking out for the better of everybody in this room and the people in this county. And I'd like an answer for that, Franklin.
No payroll or no claims have ever been turned down.
You did it just a month ago. You denied to sign the pay claims or the pay stubs. We all know that.
No, those are time cards.
Time cards. You refused to sign them. You refused to acknowledge the claims, Franklin.
And I told you then the reason before.
It's about respect.
I don't know if they're working 5 hours or 15 hours. I'm not disagreeing with them, but I'm not going to sign them. If I think there's a question, I'll come back and go through everything.
Okay, how are you going to prove whether or not they worked 5 hours or 15? Are you going to come here? You only hear on once in a blue moon. Did you ever stop in and talk to people? You've never walked into my office and asked me if my staff is doing what they need to do. Are they actually working the hours? But you trust me enough to know that I'm checking on it because you don't question mine, have you?
No.
No. But there's some select ones that you want to pick with.
That's why the department heads, they're the ones that got the trust. They're to do and take care of the employee claims, which we don't look at.
Okay, but why do not? This is part of your job, Franklin. I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision on who I was going to put as undersheriff. I had to make a decision on who's going to be my jail commander. I've had to make a decision who's going to be my deputy coroners, who I'm going to entrust with the power to do those things. And the people, a few years ago, 3, elected you to take the power and control and make the decisions in the best interest of every single one of them. All of them. It's not just a few people down in Tostons and Raidersburg. It's the people in Three Forks. It's the people in Winston. It's the people on the backside of the lake. There's a lot of taxpayers out here that want results and they want it today. They're tired of the games. They're tired of the rhetoric. And I'm one of them. I want to come in here. I want to take care of business. And I don't want the one-on-one disputes. I don't want the, I want to deny. I don't want to acknowledge. Whatever. I'm done with that. And I think the people of this community are done with it. And I'm going to stand here and I want to know. I want to know why you can't make a decision. Doug said it. There's 8 great candidates here. I think every one of them possess something that could make our commission better, make our community better. And I haven't got an answer out of you or a reasonable reason why we can't pick an interim to get on with business. Give me one solid answer, Franklin. I mean, the only thing that I heard is that before we even started this, you know what the rumor was? It didn't matter what we did or what we did through the interview process, you weren't going to pick one anyways. That's before this even started. So you already put a preconceived notion in your mind. It didn't matter what we did or how we did it, you weren't going to do it. And that's probably why you never asked a single damn question through all the interviews and probably at the forum last night, even though I missed most of it. True or false? Because I believe in the truth, Franklin.
I was there last night.
I know, but did you say that you didn't matter what we were going to do, you weren't going to pick a candidate anyways?
No, I never said that.
Then where did it come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
But you know what? It's out there, and you're doing exactly what everybody said you're going to do.
Because they had an idea.
So whose interest are you looking for, Franklin?
Whose
interest are you looking for? Yours?
No, I care about my own.
Your own interest, yes, exactly.
No, I don't care about my own interest.
Well, what about the people in the community,
That's
Franklin?
who I'm working with.
Who?
The people that keep talking to me
Like
all
what?
the time.
Which ones?
I'm not going to name them.
Why not? Because there's all these people right here that expect an answer. I expect an answer. All of these employees expect an answer. We just devoted our time, took time away from our jobs that we're appointed and elected to do to try to help you folks make a decision and make the right decision. And you can't even say, well, this is why I'm not going to do it. If there was eight people that didn't have a clue in the world, I could understand it. But guess what? There's 8 great people here.
That's what I said too. I said,
So why can't you just pick one? And you know what? Pick one. I don't care. I don't care who you pick. Pick one of them. And guess what? If your constituents don't like them, tell them to come and see me. But you know, it's time for you to do the right thing. Not for your special interest group, for the people of Broadwater County and the people you serve.
I've been doing the right thing for Broadwater
Well,
County.
you're not doing it now. You know, doing the right thing, Franklin, isn't always the most favorable, but it's doing the right thing. And I don't mean to argue with you, but this is ridiculous. Elaine Gravely's been gone from this commission since January 4th. This shouldn't take that long. This isn't rock. You said we're not trying to nominate a president, and we're just trying to fill a simple commission spot. You're the ones making it damn complicated.
You know, when Elaine was sick, she missed meeting after meeting, and things got done.
No, they didn't. You want to go back and review all this stuff? I can. Every time I walk in here, Franklin, nope, I don't want to vote. Nope, I don't want to vote. Nope, I don't want to vote. I get so damn irritated I'd have to leave. Because nothing gets done. Did you vote on the last year's budget, or did you abstain from the vote on that? I believe you abstained from voting on it, didn't you?
No, I think I finally approved of it.
No, you did not. You've never voted for a budget.
Okay, that's the thing I'm talking about, Franklin, is you always go, nope, and you never give a reason. Nope, just not going to do it. And the people of this county expect answers. We expect it. I'm a taxpayer, just like everybody else. And I'm in your district, and I expect you to do better. You're supposed to be looking out for my interests as a taxpayer. I might not live in Toston, I might not live in Raidersburg, and I might not have grew up in this county. But I expect you to do your very best, and what I'm seeing right now is not that. And I do expect more, and I hope everybody in this room expects more out of you. You know, open discussion. Have a communication between two. Communication is the key. But you need to learn to communicate with Laura as well. She needs to learn to communicate with you. But you two need to work together. And if you're going to say that you're not going to pick a commission today, then I suggest you figure out how to talk to each other in a very professional manner to make sure things get done. Because the one against one isn't going to work anymore. This is 2016. It ain't 1986. I don't care what happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I don't care what happened 5 years ago. Because it's not today and we don't live there anymore. It's time to get in the forefront of what's going on in society and get ahead of the game and not be damn behind the horse and kicking the can down the damn road. Sticking our head in the sand isn't going to work anymore. So I don't know, maybe you need to take a break from here, walk outside, take a big deep breath, and get your thoughts together. But I think today needs to be the day that something gets done and make a damn decision. Thank you.
Mr. Gravely?
I think one of the questions asked last night was very appropriate for one to ask today. When you give a no vote, are you willing to change your mind at any time? Or are you gonna say, I've got to wait till I talk to all of my constituents to make a vote? Or are you gonna be man enough to make a vote yourself?
Oh, I make the votes myself, without a doubt.
Well, why can't you make one today? Without having to meet with all your constituents?
Because I guess I'm just not ready to do it.
I think a person needs to grow up.
Yes, Helen.
I'm Helen Turcott. We have 8 candidates who have given their time and are willing to give their time to be commissioners, and yes, there is a salary, but there's a lot of time spent in addition to the actual commissioners meeting. Franklin, I guess my question to you, that it's been going on for quite some time. These 8 people expressed their interest. Did you have anyone that you wanted to be on the commission? If you did, why didn't you encourage them to apply and be one of the candidates?
Like I said, there's a good bunch of candidates.
If it was a good bunch, then can't we pick one?
You might only have to live with that one for 6 months. And the public might change your mind.
Any other comments? Yes, Wayne.
Dwayne Holm. All this is based on respect. Franklin, you should respect the public. You should, as an elected official, respect Franklin.
Oh, I do, sir.
I don't believe I heard that.
Well, that's fine.
Anyway, all elected officials should be held for respect. And I didn't see much of it today. Thank you.
Yes, Bill.
My name is Bill Amskin. Is this the code that you normally follow for vacancy?
Yes, this is one of them. There's a few, but this is certainly one of them.
So in that code, it does say something about district judge, but it's in parentheses, that's, way down low. I don't know if this is probably an issue Corey needs to be here and kind of go through and it's for a quorum if they can't agree on, or if you have more than one vacancy. And that's the process you normally follow. I mean, you follow most of it, so I'm just.
Yeah,
I don't know if you spoke to Mako and if this came about, how we would deal with it, so.
It did. I'm really curious to read this, but we did go to Mako in 2013. When Elaine was so sick in 2013, this commission went for 2 months at a time without even passing the minutes, because Elaine wasn't here to break the tie. One commissioner voted yes to pass the minutes, the other voted no. So we went to Mako and said, what do we do if we have to replace Elaine? And the question was, well, can the county attorney break the tie? Can the district judge? The answer was no. If this says differently, this could be very encouraging. But that's why we made the policy to engage the electeds.
It's more for more than one vacancy, the district judge makes the decision, but it's in a big parenthesis down, keeps going down, so how you, perceive it is.
My understanding is if there were 2 vacancies on the commission, then the third commissioner who's left is not a quorum, so they can't make a decision. So that's actually when you would engage either the county compensation board or perhaps the district judge. They would appoint one position so that you have a majority commission to appoint the third.
Seeing how we don't have a commission, so.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, no,
We do
I'll
have a
review
quorum,
this.
so it doesn't apply to the judge and the compensation board. They can't agree, but we do have a quorum per the law.
So thank you, Bill. We'll review this
And you
in
might
extreme
give
detail.
that to the public to kind of, read, where to look at what,
Yeah, thank you. This is MCA 7-4-2106. Yeah, what it says here is really if multiple vacancies occur simultaneously so that a quorum cannot be established. And then it goes into how you would get that second commissioner.
But it doesn't say you can't fill the seat. They're making a lot to fill the seat. So.
Right, but we have to have the two commissioners do it. There's no ability
So
here.
it says you guys need to fill it, not leave it empty.
I hear your question. You're saying that the law says we have to fill this position.
Pretty much they're, you know, it doesn't say you can't leave it open, so.
It's a very good point.
Whether that other counties did and left it open and left that district kind of, you know, no vote is kind of probably not right.
The other thing too, Bill, is this is the directory of county commissioners across the state. Every single one of these commissions is 3 or 5. There is not one vacancy except for one, Broadwater County. No other commission has a vacancy right now. So, thanks, Bill. We'll look into this. That might be some really good information. So, Dan, let's go ahead and then we'll have Dawn.
I've heard a lot of good comments in here, pros and cons. One is I can understand the need to get filled with the commissioners, you know, to get the voting done, because otherwise it's a stalemate. I also understand that there's some different points of views as your constituents and stuff, who wants what and how fast and what you want to do. Maybe there needs to be a spot for somebody to come in and arbitrate and put you two in a room with an arbitrator and sit down and voice what you're looking for, Frank, what you're looking for, to fill that seat and get a general consensus as to what both of you can agree on.
Can we do that behind locked doors, not open until I agree?
But it might be a suggestion to break the stalemate in that. And I understand as elected officials here in the other segments of our government, the need to get the commissioners in place. I can understand that. But I also know that a commissioner, when you become, basically you're commissioner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not a question of time. Money, yes, because there is budgets. But that might be a direction that you both consider, to sit down and say, well, this is what I see in our next commissioner as an intern, and this is what you see as a commissioner. And hash it out and see where you can find neutral ground.
All right, any other comments? Don?
I may be doing a bit of a Ben Carson here, but I'm one of the infamous 8, if you will, who has gone through all the process. But my hearing is not the world's best. When you were going through the list of candidates to be nominated, I didn't hear my name. Does that mean I'm not eligible?
Doesn't mean you're not eligible. When we started this process, in order to streamline, Corey asked us each to strike off 2. And Franklin struck you off the list.
Okay.
So that took you out of the consideration. So I honor that. Any other comments, questions? All right, Bob.
What will be your timetable, Franklin? Do you think you could get this done before the primary?
Can be good, too.
Do you think you could get it done before the primary?
Hopefully. There's a,
Yes or no?
I've given those political answers, aren't I?
You're sounded like Donald Trump.
As you know, there's not going to be anything done today, I'm sure of that, and that's what I said
If nothing gets done between now and the primary, do you think you could pick one of the two candidates that makes it to the general election at the primary time and let them serve for that last 5 months? And that does not give them a leg up. All we guys gotta do is look back at our last government race for Congress, and it didn't help old John Walsh at all.
One of the
And also, we
reasons-
haven't heard anything on Delger and Shipman.
Les never even made it to the forum last night. Where was he?
He announced at the interview that he had a surgical procedure or something.
Bill?
Is one of the 8, does this mean that you're gonna be setting up one-on-one interviews with us?
Yeah,
And can we schedule them pretty soon?
yeah, I'd go for that.
If we continue down this road, will you pick one of us, or is it gonna be opened up to some more people?
Oh, I'm sure we picked out of this group. I mean, I wasn't asking for more to come in. That never was my idea. Maybe we could, I don't know, but that was never entered my mind before.
If you have a one-on-one interview, then will anybody else be present?
I didn't catch what you say now.
If you have a one-on-one interview, is it gonna be you and the,
And the person.
you and Bill, anybody else be there?
Well, I never thought of it. It'd probably be just that person. I guess they wanted somebody else to be there, they could. You know, if that's.
I think, you know, people ought to be able to hear what you're talking about, seeing what's going on.
How is that different than what we just went through as candidates and sat in here to be interviewed by all the elected officials? Is there more questions than we could have answered in 45 minutes face-to-face interview? I'm not sure what else you want from us.
It sounds to me like he's looking for privacy. He wants to just do it himself to be private.
Is that correct?
If anyone wants to be there when I'm interviewing, they can be there.
All right, Eric?
I guess my question would be, my name's Eric Crush. If there was one-on-one interviews, is that would that even be legal? Because, I mean, you would be interviewing one to be represented the whole county. I happen to live in the county that's not represented now. I'd like a representative. You know, it's just interesting, the idea of respect. I know Delger's got a business he's worried about. We heard somebody who might have to retire. We know some other individuals that were worried about their operations. Is it fair for our candidates to be kept in limbo for however much more longer? And I guess my other question would be, is I would really like to see a date. I mean, start tomorrow, 8 days out, not this following Monday, but the Monday after that, have an answer. I mean, we've been gone 6 weeks. Make it a time frame. If it has to go on, let's set a date and get it done. I kind of like the way the sheriff operates over there. He got things done. Bam, new undersheriff. Bam, new captain. Bam, and I got appointed chaplain. You know, it's just one of those things that boom, 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 get things done. Why can't we work at that kind of pace? Get things done. So, kind of a respect issue for our taxpayers, respect issues for our candidates, and they got to try to figure out how their life is now going to change. So, just something to throw out there. And, you know, 8 days, 8 candidates, following Monday, get her done, announced.
Thank you. Bobby, did I miss you before? Okay, Brad.
My name's Brad Campbell. Franklin, if this county gives you the time to go through another series of interviews, will you commit to making a choice? Because I'm concerned that what we will hear at the end of that process is that I'm still not ready. Will you commit to us?
I'll commit.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions, comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ann.
I have a question, Franklin. Ann Rouser. Franklin, you want time to do these interviews. Will you commit to 2 weeks from yesterday to being on the agenda to make a decision? That'll give you almost 2 weeks to interview 8 people. Will you commit to that?
Because we're gonna be gone for that Marsh conference in Great Falls. It'll be after that.
Will you give us a date that you will commit to making a decision? I am asking you. We are asking you.
Laura, I might add on that, and not just a yes or a no decision. Pick one
A
candidate.
decision, yes.
It's gotta be somebody picked.
That's when we'll legal if Laura isn't at the interviews. And you pick one candidate
He's
without
not
her.
doing it, he's not doing it, he'll be doing it in a public meeting here.
I think the interviews is just satisfy with him with some additional questions he has as to which one he would select, not to vote on and make a decision.
I believe that Mackers starts Tuesday morning, Franklin, so if that's the case, can we go ahead and do it the 28th of March?
No, it starts the 28th, so it'd be that week
It
after,
starts that evening.
first week in April.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sheriff.
Franklin, it's like I'm in a circus tent right now. You want time to interview candidates one-on-one, is that correct?
That's the way it's gonna work out.
Now look at me. I'm looking at you, look at me.
Yeah,
That's called respect, okay? Do you want time to interview these candidates one-on-one?
that's what I said, yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then answer me this. You sat through 10 hours of interviews, you never asked a single question. So why do you need more time to interview people when you never asked a question in the first place?
Because more and more questions have come up, let's put it that way.
Like what? Give me one question, Franklin. I'd love to hear it. Because I'm really getting frustrated with you right now, okay? And I've worked with you for a long time, and we've got along a long time. But what I'm seeing right now is you just putting a fence up, putting your little wall up, and define to make a decision. You don't want to pick a day. You don't want to pick a candidate. You don't want to do things. And in my mind, Franklin, that's disrespect. Okay? So, you know what? You talk about being honest and truthful. That's time for you to stand up and do something.
You wanted a date, and I threw that out, that first week in April there.
First week in April. So now we're 4 months out without getting anything done.
We're getting there.
And the thing is, and I still don't have an answer why, you didn't ask a question during 10 hours interview. What questions did you come up with that were so great that the elected officials went through, critiqued and reviewed with the county attorney, with HR, with other commissioners, and you have this plethora of questions that you need to sit down one-on-one with, even though you never asked a question in the first place. And I don't mean to be confrontational, okay? I'm just standing up as a person who's going to stand here and confront you because some people are not comfortable doing so. I don't have a problem with it. But I'm not hearing answers. I'm hearing a lot of blah, 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 blah. And I'm waiting for the zebras, the tigers, and the elephants to come out of the closets because we're in a circus tent right now. And I'm tired of being the joke of county government across the state of Montana. You know it and I know it. Every time I go somewhere from Montana Sheriff's and Peace Officers Association, I get questioned. What in the hell is going on in Broadwater County?
Absolutely. I
When
get
you're
that
in
all the time,
Mako,
too.
you go to Mako, it's the same thing.
I know it.
Right?
I know
When
it.
I go to the Board of Crime Control, when I go to the academy, no matter where I go in my official capacity, as a sheriff or undersheriff or whatever position I held at the time, everybody asks me the same thing. And I'm sitting here today with a room full of people, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can, because that's what this is about, communication and respect. But I'm not getting any answers. You're not being definitive on your decisions. You're not standing up for your decisions. You're just sitting there going, well, I'll get around to it when I get around to it. It doesn't take 8 days to interview 8 people. It didn't take us a whole 24-hour period to interview 8 people. So I'm not sure why you need 8 days. Hell, I don't know why you need 2 weeks. Reality is, Franklin, you're paid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just as much as I am.
There are different schedules with different people. and
Well, you know what's
different things
important to these gentlemen that are sitting here today? It was important to them last night. It was important to them last Thursday. You are an elected official 24/7. I suggest tomorrow morning at 0800, if you want to interview candidates, I suggest you start at 0800 and go to 9, 10, 11 until you get it done. And I would expect by Monday of next week that you can make a decision because you've had ample opportunity. I don't care if it takes you working on a Saturday. Because your job is to work for these people, for this community.
Yeah.
And all you're giving me is excuses, Franklin. If I had to do it, I'd do it right now. If I had to interview all 8 of these guys again, I'd sit down at noon o'clock and I wouldn't go home until it was done. Because it's that important to me. It's important to these folks. It's important. Mike's taking time away from his business. I'm not sure what Bill is supposed to be doing right now. Bill, he's probably got a job he needs to do. Larry's got a ranch to tend to. Don's probably got something else to do. But they're all taking their time and all we're getting is excuses. If it's so important, get it done.
That's what I did.
Well, you don't need 8 days, Franklin. I'm telling you, you don't need 8 days. You could get it done tomorrow. Next Monday, you can make a decision. This him and hawing around is just procrastinating.
Okay, we'll procrastinate then.
Why? You know, what is, I'm curious. Again, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Do you remember the oath of office that you took? What did it say? I swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Montana with fidelity, so help me God. Did it not?
Yes.
Are you doing that in this perspective? No, you are not.
I wouldn't say that.
I do.
Because we both got different ideas.
Well, you know what? My job is to read the law and enforce the law and uphold the law, along with the Constitution of the State of Montana, as long as it's the Constitution of the United States of America. And they're all very near and dear to me. And I remember who I work for. It's for these folks. They expect me to make the best damn decision I can in the shortest amount of time that it takes. And they're expecting you to do the same thing. Not give me excuses, not go, well, I'll get to it when I can, I have other things to do. I'm sorry, you're a commissioner, you're an elected official. And when you took on that responsibility, that comes first. So I really don't care if you got a cow that needs to be tended to. I don't care if you got a septic tank to dig in. I don't care what it is you have to do. This job comes first, Franklin, because you're getting paid by these folks to do it.
It has been.
Well, you're not doing it right now. You know, I want some definitive answers. I don't want,
3 years.
you tell me why it takes 8 days to do 8 interviews. And tell me why you have to interview when you never ask the question first time.
Because I just threw that out there at that. That's why, and that's, I'm
So
sticking
why
with
didn't,
it.
so why didn't you ask me a question during the interview? When all the elected officials are wasting their time, obviously, why didn't you ask a question? The only time you opened your mouth is when you confronted Mr. Updegrove about a newspaper article, whether it exists or it doesn't. The only thing you say, well, I want you to prove to me that that actually occurred. You're always on the defense.
I had the question, that's why I asked it.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you need time?
There was an opportunity last night for anyone there to ask questions of the candidates.
Yeah. You've chosen to not do it twice, Franklin. So why do we need to extend this any longer? You said we got 8 great candidates, pick one. As Mike Delger said last night, pick the one you both hate. Doug said the same thing. We expect answers. We expect results. Do you want me, if somebody come down and broke into your house, well, you know, I guess, well, you got 5 suspects. You know what, maybe tomorrow, Franklin, I'll track one down and maybe I'll interview him. And well, you know, maybe here in a couple weeks I'll get to that other one. And you know, oh, you had $100,000 worth of stuff stolen. I'm sorry. You know, I'm really busy. And your problem doesn't seem to exist in my world. How would that make you feel? If I didn't come down there and solve your crime within the first 24 hours, you would flip a biscuit. If you lost $100,000 of your private property you'd flip. And you'd be in my back pocket chewing on my butt every day, telling me to get my job done and get every piece of person I have on the job to find your stuff. If somebody came down, stole your backhoe, you'd be in my back pocket telling me to get it done. And if I told you, well, I'll find it here in 8 or 9, 10 days, that's unacceptable to you. True or false?
Probably right.
Okay. That's the same thing that goes back to you. You ain't got the time. The people in District 2 expect an answer, and they expect a result, and they expect to have somebody representing their interests from their district on the Board of County Commissioners. Now, I can't tell you how to do your job. I can't tell you what to do in your job. All I can do is bring out the facts that I know and bring it up to everybody here so everybody understands. You don't have 8 or 10 days to make a decision. These people want representation. This county wants representation. We need to get going in our facets of business in a very quick fashion. We can't go down the road of what Lewis and Clark did or Daniels County. I don't care. We don't live there. It's not our problem. This is our problem. And I was hoping there'd be a lot more people here today expressing their interest in how this is done. So, you know, if you could, please answer why you need 8 days to interview 8 candidates.
That's probably the way to work out.
You can't do more than one interview a day.
Maybe it won't, I don't know.
It takes more than 8 days to interview 8 candidates?
They got scheduled, and I got scheduled.
Like I just told you, Franklin, you're an elected official, you're 24/7.
Different places, you know.
Well, if I had things to do, it doesn't mean that my job goes away just because I have a schedule. I took on the responsibility, just like you did. And I don't think anybody in this room wants me to say, hey, you know what? Thinking about going fishing this week, so, you know, if something happens with your house, your property, your loved ones, I'm not sure what I can do about it, because I'm going fishing. I'd probably be hung from a yard arm out in front of the courthouse. There's no excuse for it. It's time to do the right thing. Pick a person that you hate. You know, Mike Myers. Let's I don't know. Pick somebody. Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble. I don't care. We need somebody in the third seat, please. I'm done.
Doug?
I just have one
Thank
more
you, Ruth.
comment. I still believe we have 8 qualified people for this position. I don't want a Laura Obert clone. I don't want a Franklin Slipka clone. I want somebody to sit in that third seat that's got their own mind and can make up their own decisions. That's why this was all done in the public, in the guise of transparency, so everyone would know what's going on. A personal interview is gonna take that all away. It's gonna take that all away, and it's gonna put it to where you're selecting the person that you want. This is a 2-person decision. That person that sits in that third chair should be independent from both of you, There should be no private investigation on whether they're gonna agree with what you want or not. That shouldn't happen. You should pick somebody that's qualified to sit in that chair, think with their own mind, and make their own decision, period. That's the only decision you have to make. Will they be good for Broadwater County? We have 8 people that stood up in 2 different interviews, said they had no agenda, they love the county, lived here all their life, lived here 20 years, moved here because they love the place. I have no doubt in my mind that any one of these 8 people would sit in that chair and represent Broadwater County to the best of their ability and to do what was best for Broadwater County. That's what I disagree with any more time, any more interviews. We had the interviews. It shouldn't be a one-on-one. It should be a county-wide decision, and that's the way it was set up.
Val?
This is very hard for me to do because I am an elected official. And Broadwater County is very special to me. I've lived here all my life, but what I want to say is I had the honor, and I want to say this to all of you candidates, the honor to sit and listen to all of your interviews and to be at the forum last night. And there's not one of you that I would not pick to represent Broadwater County. I lost 4 nights of sleep worrying and fretting about making sure that we gave the commissioners to try to pick, who we felt would be the best to represent Broadwater County in this interim. Who would be able to work with Laura and work with Franklin to fill this spot. And right now, I just feel it was a waste of my time. Not to the point that it was a waste of my time to sit here and listen to you gentlemen, because there isn't one of you that doesn't have the best interest of Broadwater County in your hearts or in your minds. There was a lot of questions that I had that were answered, and so for me, it was a pleasure and an honor to serve on this panel. And I just want you candidates to know that it was a pure honor and a pleasure to do so. And that's all I needed to say.
Brad?
Mr. Slifka, will you promise to make a decision within 1 week and choose a candidate?
I don't know about a week, I threw that one figure
No,
out
1
there.
week. That's reasonable. We're talking about your duty here. You have a duty to this county. You have a duty to me. I live in that district. And I'm sorry, but when I see you, I think your real intention is to undermine the process. I don't believe you are representing the best interest of this county. And I want you to change your mind like we talked about last night. Because the right decision is, you raised your hand, you took an oath, and now you're failing that. Please, stand up and do the right thing for this county and the right thing for my district. And now will you promise to do it within 1 week?
I won't promise you the week, but I promise you that I'd make that commitment, like I did just a little while ago, when you asked me for a commitment.
The commitment is, will the commitment include, I need more time, or I'm not going to make a decision? That's not the kind of commitment
No,
we're looking
no,
for.
that ain't the commitment.
Will you
I
commit
said.
to pick
I
somebody?
didn't say the commitment on the time yet.
Will you commit to pick somebody?
Yeah, I already told you that I would,
Okay,
on the first, when you asked me before.
but I'm still asking you to.
On the time, I haven't made a commitment on the time yet.
You
I don't know if
can
it'll be
do it in a week, you know you can. And I know that you represent a small group of people. And I don't know what their intentions are.
Well, I don't
know
represent a
why
small
you.
group, that's a very large group, they're in contact with us all the time. And like Val
Well,
said,
this is a
I've lost
large
many a
county.
night's sleep trying to, on this thing too.
3,020 people make the majority in this county, and I don't believe you're representing the majority. You know, you have a duty to me, because I live in that district. And I'm asking you to do your job. Thank you.
Bobby, Mr. Slifka, you mentioned a few minutes ago, a while ago, that you were going to make a decision by the first week of April. Are you now not going to make a decision by then?
I didn't quite get,
You just told us a few minutes ago that it would be the first week of April.
April, yeah.
So now you're saying you're not committing to a time?
No, they wanted me to make it within a week, and I says, no, I'm still sticking to what I said there, that first week of April, is what I was.
And why the first week of April? Why does it have to take that long?
Well, I guess as I was looking at stuff here, that's where, you set a date, and that's what I said at the time, so.
But why?
May,
Why does it have to take that long?
well, we're gonna be at a conference in Great Falls on, I believe it's the 28th, 27th, whatever it is.
We could meet
And
the
whether we
Friday
get done
before.
before then, maybe will, I don't know. But it won't be any later, let's put it that way.
We can meet any day of the week, we can meet the
Right.
Friday before.
If you can commit to the 29th.
I think
before you go to
April Fool's Day
conference.
might be a very good day to do it.
I saw a hand, Bill.
Is one of the 8 people that's gone through this process, if I'm gonna be asked to just interview with Franklin Slivka, that's not what I told the people last night about representing them. I'm not here to go with one of the commissioners and hear what he wants of me. If that's not integrity of this county, and if that's what this is set up, so it's just me and Franklin and the other candidates, withdraw my name, because that's not what I'm promising the people. I'm promising I'm here for all the people. I have twice been in a public forum where Franklin was at. This isn't gonna be a secretive me and hear what Franklin has of me meeting. So if that's where we're headed, if it's not gonna be a public thing, please withdraw my name.
Wayne,
Dwayne Hall. I got the notion that they were picking on you, Frank, but I don't believe they are. I believe that the one-on-one interviews are not the way to go. You talk with everybody, all the candidates. You might not want to make the decision today, but make a decision. People in District 2 need somebody sitting in their seat. And like Doug said, he doesn't want you cloned or he doesn't want her cloned. He wants somebody with their own mind. And if you can't figure out somebody with their own mind, we're in trouble.
I told Brad I'll make the commitment.
That's good.
Yes, Franklin, Brad has asked you on behalf of the people in his district to make a decision. I am asking you to stand up to your duty as the commissioner in District 3 and do your duty and make the decision. And I am also asking you to make one by next week. You will have time to think about it. Whether you interview the people or not, you're going to have to make the decision yourself one way or the other. So take a week, but make a decision. Do not make this county wait until the 1st of April.
anything else? Philip?
You just have, just one little quick, just to clarify in my mind here. The record's gonna show that Commissioner Overt was prepared and ready to make a decision in the interim, and Franklin has abstained to vote with no decision. Is this correct?
I didn't abstain, well, I guess he did. Yeah, he didn't second anything. Yes. We're not gonna adjourn today's meeting. I'm going to postpone it till Monday. And I'm going to postpone weekly until we get a decision made. If that happens to be the beginning of April, then this will be a part of our agenda, postponed until then. So,
Can I make one statement?
yes.
As the one candidate along the Dawn that was not nominated by either of you two, am I correct in assuming that you would not vote for me?
At this point, I could not, based on some of your answers in the interview.
So basically, there's no sense in me going through an interview. If Franklin wants to do it, which I don't want to do. But there's no sense in me wasting my time here because you're not going to vote for me anyway.
Not at this time. Don?
I've got to ask the same question. Franklin, you struck me off the list. Do you expect me to be available to interview with you again?
Just because you didn't make the first round doesn't mean you're completely out there, I guess you say that, but,
But let me tell you, on the basis of what I've heard here this morning, you're on very shaky grounds with me.
Any other questions, comments, Mr. Green?
I think Bill has got a very good point. If you struck him off or you struck him off, whatever two you struck off, what's the use of interviewing on that? You know, get it down to 4. You might be able to make a decision in a week. You gotta be your own man. You can't say, well, I've gotta go meet with my constituents. You gotta be your own man, Franklin. Make a decision.
Oh, when the decision comes, I will, that's for sure. I've done it for the last 3 years.
It'd be nice to be your own man today instead of having to meet with your so-called constituents. And as far as, do you want to interview all 8 of them? Or do you want to, the ones that you've struck off, just have those 4 come in?
Once they don't want to, I guess I'll give them a chance, put it that way. I'll ask them to go from there.
Well, why not set up a date? And I'm sure that all of the candidates would take time to do this in one day. It'd behoove you to do it in one day, and then do everybody else. Because they won't have to be waiting for a week to be at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Give each one of them half an hour, and get the damn thing done.
Any other comments, questions? Any others? Larry?
Larry, Mark. You know, it's hard to sit in a meeting like this. I mean, passions run really high. And there's good reason for it, because, you know, the decisions that the commissioners have to make, I think, is a very important one. But when I look at the process that we're gonna continue to go through here, I can't imagine in another interview or another forum, I am gonna impart any more information to Franklin to make a decision that you've already gotten. So you're basically telling me that I'm wasting my time and the other candidates here, because there's not one candidate here that I would not support. I think, you know, Mike got scratched off the list. I think Mike Delger is would be a great candidate, but that's the way the process works. And you need to be willing to step up and get the job done. I don't think another week's gonna make any difference. I wanna know one way or the other. I mean, if it's me, I'll hit it 100%. If it's Mike or somebody else, I'm gonna be behind them too, but it's a decision that has to be made. And there's an old adage, Franklin, that says you either lead, you follow, or you get the hell out of the way. And right now, you're in the way. That's my opinion, and believe me, if I was put on that in the middle right there, I would work with you and everything that, and listen to your comments and whatever. I'm not picking sides. It's not about Laura over Franklin. It's about the people of Broadwater County being able to make decisions to move the county forward. Another week, and I think we could put this off to the election. I mean, why? I mean, does it give a candidate that might be picked for the interim an advantage? I don't know. The people of Broadwater County are ultimately gonna make the decision, but in the next 10 months, I think there's a lot of work that needs to get done. And so I would just say, Franklin, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I think any candidate in here would be acceptable to me, and I would support it. I would just ask you, for the sake of the people, that really you have to step up and put yourself out there. You know, for the sake of those people, I'd ask you to make that decision as you know, as soon as you can. You know, if you need to think about it there too, that's fine. There's stuff to think about for sure. But, you know, as far as getting more information in an interview, I'll come and talk to you anytime. But I think we need to, one way or the other, get on with it.
Scott?
Scott Dunning, Weed Department. You want to have the interview, you got the candidates here. Commissioner Slivka, why don't you go ahead and ask the questions that you want out in open? This is a public forum, this is your chance, this is a public debate, and setting. Go ahead and ask them questions. Why do you need to reschedule, take more time out of not only the community, but out of these candidates? Time. Why can't you get it done right now? Here's your chance. Get the questions out.
So I'm not gonna do it right now, it's that plain and simple.
Why?
Well,
Done.
something else needs to be said, something needs to be brought forth here. Last night, I heard a lot of us talking about the need for teamwork and cooperation. All through this process, especially this morning, the feeling that I've got is it all depends on Franklin's decision. Well, let me tell you, that's wrong. That's wrong. Because I've got to decide whether I want to work with you. You never thought about that, did you? It's a two-way street. I know I can work with Laura. Watch what she's done. She's an excellent person. What you have shown me this morning is not good. So I've got to decide whether I can work with you. You've got to convince me that I can work with you. That's your challenge. And that's a challenge for all the rest of us too. Because all of us could say, no way, Jose, we don't want to do this.
Right, any other comments? Steve?
Just have one thing. I'm Dee Gannon, groundwater reporter. I just want to say that I see a void up there, and I feel a void here, and I can't be the only person that thinks this. We need unity in our county, not divisiveness, and I am just so sad that this has gone as far as it has. You need to find someone, Franklin. You need to decide today or Monday. I mean, you don't need 3 weeks in order to do that. We can't wait that long. We need to know that we are supported as well. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. We're going to go ahead and postpone this agenda item. I will adjourn the meeting, but we'll postpone this agenda item until the next commission meeting. Last chance. Any final comments? All right. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate very much all your time throughout this process, especially the elected officials of this county. You guys are honorable and greatly appreciated. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. It's 11:00.